Hey, what's going on out there? It's Larry coming to you with another Blazer Sports Report. Year 2012 has arrived upon us, and right now I'm going to get into the NFL wildcard preview. Wildcard matchups are always intriguing. As you know, last year the Seahawks made it. They were below 500. They knocked out the New Orleans Saints in their wildcard game, and it begs the question whether some of these teams deserve to be in or not. One matchup I'm going to start off with is the Broncos and the Steelers. As we all know, the Broncos ended on a 3-game losing streak this season after Tebow was named Mr. Fantastic, a football god or what have you. And my thing is with the Denver Broncos, I've never seen them as a playoff team. I'm surprised that they even made the playoffs. Tim Tebow, he did win games early on, but now he gets to get his full test. I mean, they lost 3 straight. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. They got lucked into getting into the playoffs because Oakland ended up losing their game to the Chargers. But they could get some help with Mendenhall tearing his ACL in the last game. Ryan Clark will not play because of some blood illnesses that he has when he goes to Denver. There's still no word on whether or not Brian Dawkins will play. As of right now, I'm not really sure. But I will say this: Tim Tebow, I don't think the game is really going to ride on his shoulders. I think this game is going to ride on the defensive abilities of both teams. We know that Denver's defense came on strong during a little win streak, and we know that Pittsburgh always has a great defense. Both teams' offenses is Ben Roethlisberger is give or take, but Tim Tebow is erratic still. I've been on the record of saying that I don't think he'll ever be an NFL quarterback at today's style of NFL play. But I will say this: if there's anything we know about Tim Tebow, is that in big game situations he does show up. So we'll see in his playoff debut whether or not he can actually make things happen against these Pittsburgh Steelers. Moving over to the other AFC matchup, we have the Texans and oh my God, they're cats, like 3 little kittens, and they're so cute, but they're like homeless. I don't know, I'm like kind of terrified right now. But anyways, before I was distracted, the 6-4 matchup, if I'm not mistaken, 6-4 matchup, the 3-6 matchup, there you go. The Houston Texans and the Cincinnati Bengals. We know that Houston, they were on a roll before Matt Schaub got injured, and now that he went down, we had Matt Leinart come in there. He got hurt, then the rookie TJ Yates came in there, and he did a couple of good things for 2 games. The thing is, when you look at this matchup with the Texans and the Bengals, no one anticipated the Bengals making the postseason, let alone with a rookie quarterback and a rookie wide receiver. Running game has been so-so. Cedric Benson, he was suspended due to past suspicions with the law, what have you. But when I look at this game, it's going to be... This is probably the most intriguing matchup because we know if Houston was at full strength, what they'll be capable of doing with Andre Johnson, the two-headed monster, and Ben Tate and Arian Foster. If Matt Schaub was back there throwing it, now they do have Foster and Tate. Those hamstrings of Andre Johnson has been acting up, and we still don't know how consistent Yates will be in playoff situations. Now on the flip side of things, not only did Cincinnati have like a great year by their standards, of course, with the team that they have put together, but they also shocked a lot of people, in my opinion, have the top 2 candidates for Rookie of the Year. I'm sorry, Cam Newton has done great things. He'll probably win it, but he didn't make the playoffs. These Cincinnati Bengals, they did make the playoffs, and with this ragtag team that they got put together, they've done pretty well for themselves. Their offense is hit or miss, but the defense has been solid all year, especially in the run game, which I think will be their biggest thing in trying to stop. I think if they can stop the run against the Houston Texans with Ben Tate and Arian Foster, that they actually have a chance to pull this off and move even deeper into the playoffs, farther than anybody expected them to do. Now moving over to the NFC, first matchup we have that we're going to talk about is New Orleans and Detroit. Now, Detroit, we know high-powered offense. New Orleans, we know high-powered offense. The run game for Detroit has been hit or miss due to injuries to Javid Best, Kevin Smith, even though he's back now. They've been up and down in the run game, but the one constant they've had is the pass game. And airing it out to Calvin Johnson, Titus Young, the linear receivers they have over there. I mean, they're a very formidable weapon, but you have to consider who, in my opinion, the MVP of the NFL, and Drew Brees. I really don't see anything slowing this man down. I mean, sure, Aaron Rodgers has. See, my thing with the MVP race, I'm gonna get to that a little bit more in depth after that. So let me not get into that right now. But the weapons that Drew Brees has around him, he has a running game to go along with the passing attack. He has a superstar in Jimmy Graham that has came out of nowhere this year, who I think has busted out because of Drew Brees. And their defense, they're hit or miss. I mean, just like it seems like the teams with the highest passing attack also have like some of the worst defenses as well. But I will say this: Drew Brees, I'll put my money on Drew Brees to win this game with these New Orleans Saints. I don't think anything's gonna stop him. He knows how to find those receivers. The pass defense of Detroit has been suspect at times this year, if not more so than others. One thing that they do have is a great pass rush with Ndamukong Suh and that great defensive line. Stephen Tulloch is back there, linebacker. Van der Bosch coming off the edge. I think he's still there. But I still don't see how they can put up points with the Saints. But I think at the end, I think this matchup will come down to who has the ball last. I mean, we did see them struggle against the Green Bay Packers, who is not that great as a defensive team as well. But I still think that with Detroit, there's their first time in the playoffs in a long time. This is still a young team that's going into the playoffs. I don't think they'll be able to handle the pressure as well. New Orleans has been there. They're more consistent, and I think that this team will be able to pull it off even better than people think. Now, let me get to the MVP matchup right now, since that's what's on my mind right now. We look at the MVP race between Brees, Brady, Rodgers. I mean, it's literally a toss-up between who's actually going to win it. I mean, the race hasn't been this close. In my opinion, when I look at what's going on, I have to give it to Drew Brees for the simple fact Drew Brees has not only has he broken the records, but the man has the highest passing percentage and 70% completion rate. I mean, that's just ridiculous. He got the yards record. I mean, I'm not saying he's the only one, but okay, the Falcons, that's the other team, the Giants and the Falcons. I don't know why I couldn't think of that before, but continuing on with the MVP race, I mean, there's no way that, in my opinion, you can really knock what Drew Brees has done this year as opposed to the other two quarterbacks. I mean, it's a tight race. I'm not saying that either one is more deserving than the other, but in my opinion, I would have to give it to Drew Brees. I mean, what he's done with these Saints over the course of the season, he has more passing attempts than anybody, highest completion percentage. Sure, he has double-digit touchdowns, but interceptions. But at the same time, the man has been playing more lights out. Everybody says Aaron Rodgers is the MVP, but my thing is, Aaron Rodgers got more hype because of the fact how his team started off this year. I mean, they started out 13-0. They lost the one game against Kansas City. They won the last two games. I mean, you can say what you want about Aaron Rodgers. I'm not knocking Aaron Rodgers. I'm saying the man is a great quarterback. But when you seen what Matt Flynn did with their team in the last week against Detroit, putting up 45 points with the same group that surrounds Aaron Rodgers, I don't really think there's a true comparison. But moving back to the matchups, the Falcons and the Giants. Okay, that was the other team that I was thinking about. I don't know why the Falcons is one of my favorite teams. I just couldn't put them in my mouth right now. When I look at this matchup between the Giants and the Falcons, we know what happened last year. The Falcons, they got into the playoffs, number one seed. They had all the momentum riding high. They were unbeatable in the Georgia Dome. But now they're coming out to Georgia Dome. They're heading out to New York, to MetLife Stadium, and I think that this game will be a little more intriguing than I think the Cincinnati game will be. For the simple fact that I look at this matchup, Matt Ryan has came on late, Julio Jones has came on late. You still got Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez. The man has weapons to throw the ball to. The pass rush has been incredible. John Abraham has been playing lights out. The team is well balanced on both sides. I mean, the secondary is a little suspect, but that seems to be the case with every team in the postseason this year. Now, when I look at the Giants, they I guess you could say they kind of backed themselves into the playoffs, but at the same time, Eli Manning is another one who's played probably the best football of his career. Now, I'm not knocking the Giants, but the struggles that they've had, the up and down year that they had, you can say they were due to injuries. You can say they were due to poor performances, but some of these things they did to themselves. And in my opinion, when I look at this Giants team, is you don't know what you're really going to get. I mean, Jason Pierre-Paul has been playing like a man possessed. You still got Justin Tuck and Umenyiora coming off the edges. The secondary has been hit or miss all year. That has been one weakness so far as in terms of on the defensive side of things. We've seen what they did when they gave up the last scoring drive to the Packers when they had the opportunity to beat them. They played soft coverage when I think they should have tightened up. But that pass rush that they possess is one of the best in all of football. And I think that if this O-line can protect Matt Ryan, they could be in for a long night. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, Brandon Jacobs, Ahmad Bradshaw, they're two of the best tandems, I guess you could say, in all the NFL when it comes to running. Hakeem Nicks has been consistent all year. Mario Manningham has been in and out of the lineup. You don't know what you're really going to get out of him, but if there's one thing I can say, even though Eli doesn't have the MVP numbers as the other three quarterbacks, he's still up there in the race because he had to do more with less. Now, I will say this, Eli Manning, I think he can find a way to beat these Atlanta Falcons, especially given the fact that they're at home. They have the edge when it's coming in. They're riding a little bit of momentum coming off beating these Dallas Cowboys. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to stop the consistency that the Atlanta Falcons has been bringing ever since they started out slow and they finished strong. And teams that finish strong, they usually have like the most momentum riding into the playoffs. I think that will help the Falcons out more, and I see them winning this matchup. So in recap, Falcons will win. The Saints will win. I see the Bengals pulling off the win against the Texans. And this Broncos-Steelers matchup, I think it's going to be a little more intriguing than people think. But when it's all said and done, the Steelers, they're the veterans. They know what they're doing. Tim Tebow is still a rookie in this game to me. He can come holler at me in 2 years once he's had enough league experience to figure out how to throw the ball. But as of right now, I'm giving it to the Steelers. That has been my wild card predictions, as long as with a little bit of what I consider the MVP race to be. Larry Jenkins, Blazing Sports Support. I'll holler at you. Peace.